Go ahead. Mayor Ball, if you can hear me, I think you froze.
Yep.
Hello? Hello? You
Hello?
froze up. You froze up. You might want to start over.
Oh, we're going to have this problem again. Okay. 6:30 p.m. We're calling the meeting to order. It says my internet is unstable for some reason. That's weird. Let me try something else before we do that. Okay, I don't know if that's going to help or not. Okay, we're going to start again. It is 6:30 p.m. We're going to call the meeting to order. Notice is hereby given that this is a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, being held today, Thursday, January 14th, Sandy Oaks City Hall, located at 4451 Hickory Haven, Sandy Oaks, Texas 78112, which will be live streamed and accessible to the public as provided below for the purpose of considering the following agenda items. All agenda items are subject to action. In an effort to advance the public health goal of limiting face-to-face meetings, also called social distancing, to slow the spread of the coronavirus, COVID-19, there will be no in-person public access to the meeting. In accordance with the order of the Office of the Governor issued March 16th, 2020, the City of Sandy Oaks will provide a live stream video and telephonic access of the meeting to the public. The meeting information is included on the agenda. The public will be permitted to offer public comments telephonically or by audio as provided by the agenda and as permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting. Written comments may be submitted to the city secretary up to 2 hours before the meeting by emailing cityclerk@cityofsandyoaks.com and will be provided to the city council for their consideration. A recording of the telephonic meeting will be made and will be available to the public in accordance with the Texas Public Information Act upon written request. Ms. Shelton, can we get a quorum call, please?
Yes, Alderman Fillinger,
Present, ma'am.
Alderman Bricken,
I'm here, yes.
Alderman Rapino,
Here.
Alderman Crickmer,
Here.
Alderman Puente.
Here.
You do have a quorum, Mayor. And we do also have the City Attorney Cassandra Ortiz on Zoom with us.
Thank you. We will pass on Pledge of Allegiance because we're not in the building this evening. Item number 3 is Mayor and Administrator announcements and updates. And I just had, I had 2 items I wanted to discuss. The first one is the items donated from ACOG. So back in December, we got an email that the Alamo Area Council of Governments from their current location on Tesoro. I'm not quite sure where they're moving to, but they had several floors in that building, and they made available to their members, of which we are one, to come take a look at any furniture or supplies that they had available, and they were free for the asking. So there's quite a bit, and I do not have an inventory, but there were several trailer loads of furniture that were picked up for free from ACOG and were delivered to the new building. So that's, I say free, we paid $200 for some contract labor to help us with the move, but other than that, it was free. So that's a good start for our new municipal building. And the second item is I just want to make a public statement regarding, hold on, just, sorry, had a frog in my throat, about recent passing of a former alderman. BJ Gillespie passed away on Tuesday morning. She's had a lengthy illness and had been in hospice care for some time, but she was one of the original members of the city council, and a lot of people know her, know about her, or there's probably a lot who don't, but have. She was a great asset to the city, and would be sorely missed. Okay, with that, we will move on to, I'm going to bring item 8 forward, just to be sensitive to Ms. Wooden's time. If you remember at our last meeting, we talked about this, and there was a request from, I think it was Alderman Fillinger, to have Jennifer join us and do the presentation that she had shared with me during a call outside of the meeting. So Jennifer, if you are ready, and Catherine, can you allow her to share the screen so that we can all see her presentation, please?
Yes, 1 second.
Thank you. I cut out for a second. Is it time to rock and roll?
It's time to rock and roll. You're up.
Okay. All right. Okay. It says host disabled participant screen sharing. Is it possible to re-enable that so I can share my screen?
Yeah, I was trying to do, I think, I mean, it says that I've got it marked off that multiple participants can share.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Got it?
Now we're on. Thank you. Okay. So I'm assuming you can see my screen. I'm going to make this short and sweet, and let me know if you have any questions at the end. But Nixle is a communication platform, so it's going to allow you to communicate with your residents and internally. And the way that it works is we get your people in there a number of different ways. So they can sign up on nixle.com. They can sign up in a customized web widget, which I'll show you in a little bit. So you can embed it into your website. They'll see a feed of the last messages sent, and they can just sign up directly through your website. They can also sign up through text message, which is the most popular way. You just take your phone out, text your zip code to 888-777, and then you hit send. And then the last way they can sign up is that same exact workflow, but with a keyword. So for example, a lot of municipalities, we have about 200 different municipalities doing this for COVID. I live in SF, so if I text COVID SF to 888-777, I'm getting all the updates for that. And then City of New Orleans, where I'm originally from, does it for Mardi Gras every year. They do it for Jazz Fest. It's a way to kind of separate your targeted groups out from your main public group. And then you can advertise that keyword in high traffic areas around town and local and social media. So that's how we get people in. And then once they're in, they're able to receive messages from you. And the way that you send a message out is super easy. You just choose the message type on the top. It can be an alert, which is reserved for the most critical situations, threat to life or property that's imminent and time critical. Or it could be an advisory message, which is 80% of the time it's an advisory message. So it's still an important message, still time sensitive and need to know, but not necessarily a dire emergency. Once you choose your category, then you're able to write your message, and then you just choose where you want it to go. And you can have as many public and private groups as you want to inside of Nixle. If you want to create an email and web message, you just check this box off here, and it opens a dialog to create your email and web message. You can attach photos, etc. Preview the message, and then you can send it out. If you have a Facebook or Twitter, you can also include that, and you just check off a box to post that same message to your Facebook or Twitter feed. And Nixle is meant for obviously emergency communication and advisory messages, but it can also be used for community engagement. So event reminders and invitations, meet the mayor, pizza with the police, things like that. This community category is going to go out through email only. And the reason for that is we don't want to bombard residents with too many messages unless it's important need to know information. Otherwise they may get annoyed and then opt out. So this is the workflow. As you can see, the Twitter and the Facebook's down there. It's kind of hard to see. It's a little small, but you just check off those boxes once you set that up, and then it's going to post there. We have that same workflow available through a mobile app. So if you're not in front of your desktop computer, you can still get a message out by just hitting quick message, write your message, hit send, and then you're done with it. Or you can do the advanced message where you're choosing the message options, where you want it to post to. We have SMS, email, voice, if you have Nixle 360, so that's a reverse 911, or social media. And then you write your message, And then you write your email and web message where you can attach photos or add a location, preview the message and hit send. Or if you're doing Nixle 360 with us, which again is a reverse 911 phone call, it takes that message, converts it into voice, one of 3 ways, and then it calls out to people. Oops. If you're doing voice with us, you can record it one of 3 ways. So you can either record your voice on the spot, you can do default text to speech. So if you do nothing, it's going to be a robocall. Or you can do it ahead of time, save it as a WAV file, and have your templates available and ready to go. Once your message is in there, you also have the option to geo-target. I know you're a relatively small community, so you may not use this, but say if there's a water break in just one area, maybe not everyone needs to know about that. So you just draw your little shape, and then it's just going to reach everyone inside of that shape. Anyone with an address inside of that shape is going to get a phone call. Anyone with a zip code inside of that shape who signed up through text message is going to get a text message. This is what the web widget looks like on your website. So it's just a feed of the last messages sent. People can see what's going on, and then they can sign up directly through your web page for alerts. And then they sign up. And I'm going to stop there and see if anyone has any questions so far.
So just, and sorry, this is Mayor Ball. To be clear, we can use it as an app, but we can integrate it with our website. That is correct?
You can integrate it with your website. Yep. And then we have a publishing app. So it's just for the administrators. It's just for you and, you know, council and whoever else is going to be sending the messages. You can send that through a, we call EngageBridge app. So you can send it from your phone. This is what the end user interface looks like. So when I'm on the end recipient getting a message, I just get a text message looking like this. If Marie Jones goes wandering off, she has Alzheimer's and you can't find her, you can actually send a message to the public giving just the basic headliner information. And then if you have details, if you see that tiny little URL underneath the message, that's where all the details go. So if you click that, it brings you to this customized web page on the left-hand side. And that's where they'll see photos, contact information, location information, etc. So there is a place for the details, but the text itself, we try to keep short and sweet so that it's not broken out into multiple text messages and then possibly appearing out of order. All the severe weather is automatically rebroadcasted. Oops, let's see. There we go. So if you deal with any severe weather, I like this because this is a set it and forget it situation. So you just set this up ahead of time of whatever severe weather applies and how you want people to be notified through text, email, or social media. And then you can just forget about it. And next time that there is a major storm, National Weather Service will issue their warning automatically, and then we'll take their warning and then automatically rebroadcast it to all of your subscribers. So they're going to get that message. You'll get that message. Everyone will get a heads up. And it's especially time sensitive things like tornadoes. It's important to get that out quickly. So that's all automated. And if it is something like a tornado or severe enough, Google will take your message and rebroadcast it through Google. So anyone who's in Google in your area at the time, looking for anything on maps or whatever, they'll see this bright red banner at the top of their search results, tornado warning, evacuate immediately, leave now, just to let them know that they're, you know, in danger. And then lastly, it can also be interactive. So if Marie Jones does go wandering off, you can actually ask the public's help in finding her, and people can text back to your Nixle and say, I see her on 5th and Main. And that will be routed back into Nixle to your police department or whoever would be responsible for that as an anonymous tip. And when you log in, you can actually have a conversation with the tipster. You can see photo attachments that they've sent. You can close it out. And you can also set up proactive anonymous tipping by setting up a keyword followed by their tip, and they text it, goes to the police department. And yeah, that's basically it. If you want to use this for private internal group communication, you can. You can have as many groups as you want to, and then you just take a CSV file, first name, last name, phone number, email of everyone, mass import them in, and then you can communicate to all of council. You just send a message out, everyone's get that text.
So quick question for you. You've talked about groups here. but we also talked about keywords. And if I'm not mistaken, the plan that you and I spoke about gives us 5 keywords.
Right.
And so can you talk about the difference between the keywords and the groups and how those work?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great question. So you can have as many groups as you want to. You get 5 keywords that you can rotate throughout your groups. So some of these groups won't have keywords associated with them, some will. For example, if you have a Christmas parade, right, you can set up a group specifically for that and set up a keyword Xmas parade TX. People text that, they'll sign up specifically just to get messaging around that Christmas parade. Once the parade's finished, you kill the keyword and then another becomes available. So they're like unique URLs, and you can rotate them throughout the year through your different events. So you don't have to keep them all 5 active all year long. You may keep 1 active year long for things like recruitment, for example, but you can rotate the other 4 as your events go throughout the year.
And if somebody, let's say that we had a keyword active and then we are not using it and somebody tries to sign up, what kind of message do they get?
So you can set up the automated message that they would get. If it's not active, they're not going to get anything. If it is active and you have that auto message set up, you can set it up however you want. A lot of people drop a URL in there. So welcome to Christmas Parade, 2021. And then it'll have like a web page that pops up and points them to all the resources.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions on how this works? Or my vision with this, so everybody knows, is I know I talked about it at the last meeting, but we get some pushback from citizens about not having signage to advertise meetings or events. And that's a very costly and labor intensive approach. The intent here would be, if somebody's interested in city council meetings as an example, we would have a keyword that would be set up for meetings. And then anytime an agenda is posted for a meeting, then anyone who has subscribed to that particular keyword would get a notification and a link to the agenda. So that's one way of using it. We're also going to be publishing electronic newsletters. So again, we could, create a keyword for newsletters. And then once the newsletter is published, if they have subscribed, then they would get an automatic notification with a link to the newsletter, but also for events. So, I know Jennifer mentioned about COVID. The expectation is that we will be seeing some local delivery of COVID vaccine coming in the next few months. And this would be an ideal way to keep people informed of when those events are happening. Or we have several opportunities to participate in food distribution events. So those are kind of the ideas that I had behind using something like this. This would be much more cost effective than putting up a $250,000 sign at one entrance to the city, because that's not going to serve the entire community. So that's kind of the whole reason that I'm kind of going down this road, and invited Jennifer to do the presentation for us.
Yeah, could absolutely use it for those use cases. And
could
for
I-
the, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, how do you recommend that this is administrated? And is there any training available on how to
Yes.
use this, to our best advantage?
Absolutely. Yeah. It comes with implementations, training, and setup. And that is covered by a one-time setup fee for year 1. And then after that, it's just a recurring software service fee. So you will have training. It's basically like this, it's like through the computer. It's just a 1-hour remote training for the main administrators. And I would try to get as many people as you can in on it. If not everyone can make it, you can actually ask your implementations manager to record it for future reference. But as you saw, it's pretty straightforward. So, it's pretty easy to use. After the training's done, if you want to do anything special, like setting up a special group just for council meetings, or setting up the newsletter, you have quote unquote office hours with your implementations manager where you can do the special things with her.
Thank you.
Yep.
And I did notice you mentioned early on, and which is one way that I found out about you, was when you can input the zip code to the number, and it will come back with any. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jennifer. I think it comes back with the keywords that are established within that zip code. Is that correct?
So yes and no. You can put so if you set up a keyword, you can put in the auto message reply with zip code to receive regular city updates, for example. That's how most people do it. They put it in the auto message. So I sign up, for example, for Mardi Gras for New Orleans, and then City of New Orleans sends me a text message. Thanks for signing up for Mardi Gras updates. Reply with your zip code to receive regular city updates.
But if I'm traveling, let's say through San Antonio, and I put in the zip code where I work, and I text it to that number that I forget what it is, the 88877.
Yep.
Yeah. What would I get back by doing it that way?
You'd get their auto response back, saying thank you for signing up for alerts, and maybe they have a URL in there. It just depends on what they put in there. It's completely customizable. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I don't see any other hands raised. Anyone else have any questions? And how long is the implementation? How long does that take?
Takes about a week. You're up and running within the day, but again, it's just that training is usually the biggest bottleneck, and just getting all the cats in the room. It's a 1 hour training. After that, you're live and ready to use it.
Okay. Okay, does anyone have any other questions? And Jennifer, you're welcome to stay on with us, or if you choose to. We don't have
Thank you very
that.
much, everyone. Drop off.
Thank you, and I'll be in touch with you.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. So item number 8 on the agenda is the presentation from Jennifer Whidden from Everbridge/Nixle with possible discussion and/or action. So if there is anyone on the council who would like to take any action on this, now would be the time.
I personally like this idea. I think it would be a good way to get the community involved, especially when there's a text message going out, say, hey, agenda's posted, click here on this link, or just those little messages like the, hey, FYI, or just in case. I think it'd be great to reach a community that way. I'm for it.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and making one more thing, is there different package levels that they sell?
There is the 360, which I don't recall what the price was on the 360, but that's the one that included the reverse calling.
Mhm.
The package that we're talking about here is $3,000 a year, and it is sized for communities up to 10,000 people. So we will stay well within that band of their offer for quite some time.
Okay.
Mickey, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
When we put out a quarterly newsletter, what is the cost on that
There's no cost. Oh, when we mail it, I'm sorry.
when we mail it?
It runs about anyway, depending on, if it's a 2-page or a 1-page, but it's anywhere from $2,500 to $3,000 a mailing.
Okay, so this would be much more efficient and less expensive than trying to do a quarterly mailing.
Correct. And again, during the master plan surveys that were done,
Yes, ma'am.
90% of the respondents said that they would prefer to receive a newsletter electronically, which, makes sense. So all we would do is publish the newsletter on the website. Once that's done, then the notification would go out using to the people who have subscribed. So once we set up, assuming that we do this, we would set up the various groups and keywords, and then just use that as the communication tool.
And Mickey, just to verify, it's about 2,500 to 3,000 per quarter, correct?
Per quarter, yeah, for each.
If we were to do it
newsletter,
the other way, okay.
yes. There was something else that I wanted to tell you on that, and I forgot what it was.
Tom has his hand up.
Yes, Mr. Rapino, go ahead.
Yeah, I've used this system before. It's very powerful. It beats the hell out of a newsletter. You can do many, many things with it. So I'm for it too.
Well, I think what it offers us is a way to, like Jennifer mentioned, to engage the community. So we would use all the resources that we have currently at our disposal to advertise, hey, if you're interested in, keeping up with meetings, or if you're interested in learning when COVID vaccines are going to be available, text to this number, and then they're already signed up. And at any point when they decide they don't want to do that anymore, all they do is they text the word stop, and they stop receiving the notifications.
Yeah, it's super.
Okay. If nobody else has anything to offer, I would make a motion that we authorized the Nixle service.
I'll second that.
Okay. So we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Crickmer to go ahead and engage with Nixle for their service. Is there any other discussion? Because we're all remote this time, we're going to revert back to what we used to do, which is I'm going to ask for we'll do an audible and a show of hands. And I do know for Gary Bricken that may be a challenge, so we'll do audible for sure. So all in favor, say aye and raise your hand if you're able to.
Aye.
Aye.
That sounds like unanimous to me. And all opposed? Okay, that motion carries. All right, thank you. We'll go back to the beginning. Marshall Lopez, you are on the line, is that correct? I see you.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, let's go ahead, just to be sensitive to your time as well. Let's move on to item 9. The Marshall updates and announcements from Marshall Lopez with possible discussion and/or action. Did you have any announcements for anyone this evening?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then we'll move on to item 9B, which is presentation of monthly report by Marshall Lopez with possible discussion and/or action.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As for our monthly activity for the month of December, if you're looking at your document, for the court defendants for the month of December was 71, and if you're looking for the total for the year, you're looking to the right of it is 807. Cases that we had for the month of December was 135. Total for the year was 1,282. Traffic stops for the month of December was 117. And for total for the year, you're looking about 1,500 traffic stops. Also for December, citations written, 107 citations. You're looking at about 1,100 citations that were issued overall for the year. Warnings, 67 warnings were given for the month of December, and 729 warnings were given for the year. Arrests, we had 6 arrests for the month of December, and 91 arrests total for the year that we had. A lot of arrests. And calls for service for, if you're looking to your left, looking down, civil matter, we had 3, 58 civil matter reports were taken for the year. And then a little bit further down, disturbance, we had 5 for the month of December. We had 30 taking calls for service for disturbances. And then a little bit down, information, we had 4 information, 12 taken for the year. Suspicious persons, we had 2 for the month of December, 14 for the year. And then we had welfare concerns, 2, 12 for the year. And then assist other agencies, we had 2, and we had 20 assist for the year. And then theft of properties, we had 1. We also had 4 for the year. Animal calls was 2. We had 18 for the department. And shots fired, we had 1. And the total for that we've taken for the year was 3. Harassments was 1, total of 5 for the year. And then vehicle crashes, we had 1, and total of 2. Criminal trespasses issued was 1. We had 2 for the year. And then illegal dumping, we had 1, and then 2 for the year. And then for the arrest, as you can tell by the other handout for the month of December, the following were SAPD warrants. We also had a Bastrop warrant. 1, 2, 3, 4 SAPD warrants were given. Were arrests and also for an assault bodily family taken in. So that's we've been quite busy. I don't expect it to slow down as we continue to move forward. We're just going to keep on getting busier and busier as we continue throughout the year. And that's all I have, ma'am.
I do have a question for you. The
Yes, ma'am.
item for shots fired, can you elaborate on that, please?
On the shots fired, is when we receive a call, when somebody calls 911 or the non-emergency line, shots fired, either somebody that's in the area or within the residence that are using a firearm illegally, firing up in the air or into the ground. We try to narrow it down of where those shots are coming from residences, and try to make contact with those individuals. Like I said, it is illegal to fire or discharge a firearm in a municipality.
And just so we're clear, all of the information that are on these monthly reports that you provide are strictly what your department have addressed. These are not,
Yes,
these
that is
don't
correct.
have any Bexar County responses in them at all.
No, these are all everything that you see are calls for service that we've taken within the year, either by myself or Deputy Castillo.
Okay.
I have
Okay.
a question as well, Marshall Lopez.
Yes, ma'am.
As far as disturbances, there's been 5. What would fall under a disturbance? What type of events?
Disturbances, noise complaints, noise disturbance, domestic disturbances, just along those type of lines.
Okay.
Disturbances, it can fall into many. It's just like I said, it just depends on what we get. But we like disturbances between individuals, people not getting along or whatever the case is. So.
Okay, thank you. Is there a way for us to track
welcome.
the number of noise disturbances that we get?
During the day, obviously, that we don't get those many calls during the week. Usually those complaints come in after the officer leaves, and we're looking to hopefully in the near future to add another officer in the near future to cover those complaints and get more of those statistics down once we have overnight coverage. But right now, no.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Were there any other questions for Marshall Lopez?
I don't have a question, but I'd like to say thank you, Marshall Lopez. You and Deputy Castillo are doing a heck of a job.
Yes, you are. Thank you.
I appreciate that. And like I said, as you can see by the numbers, we've done a lot just with myself and Deputy Castillo, and also with the great support that we have with Bexar County as well. When we're not on duty, they're filling in and narrowing those gaps of calls for service. So, these are what's happening in the community. And so we're trying to drive the issues that plague the community down as well. So it's going to get there. It's just taking time, one day at a time. But thank you.
Yes, sir.
And please relay that information to Deputy Castillo when you talk to him, please.
Yes, ma'am, I will.
Okay, thank you. Have a great evening and be safe.
You too. Y'all be safe. Thank you.
Okay. Let's go back to item 4. Citizens to be heard. Persons wishing to speak may sign up with the city clerk at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting by emailing cityclerk@cityofsandyoaks.com or calling 210-607-0834. Please note that the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the City Council from responding, commenting, or discussing items or topics during this portion of the meeting that are not included on the agenda. The City Council appreciates hearing from the citizens, and your thoughts and questions are valued. However, civility and a sense of decorum will be strictly followed. All speakers must address their comments to City Council. Speakers shall refrain from public criticism of members of the City Council that are prohibited by law. This item will be open for up to 30 minutes with 3 minutes to each speaker. One person may speak on behalf of a group. Up to 3 persons may register on behalf of the group in order for the spokesperson to be allotted up to 9 minutes to speak. If there are more than 10 speakers, each will be given 2 minutes or 6 minutes for a group spokesperson. Did an email. Let me find that real quick. So there was an email received from Douglas Tomasini, and it says, please consider the following comments. My written statement for the council to consider for the next council meeting. I realize the current COVID pandemic does not allow for the public to attend council meetings, and written statements are permitted. The council approved $4,800 for veterinarian services in the current fiscal year. The money spent on veterinarian services by the end of December 2020 in this fiscal year totals $3,135.35, leaving $1,664.65 for the remaining 9 months. Another concern is the current public works tools/equipment budget line item totaling $3,000. The city purchased a tractor and is paying $337.46 monthly for the public works tools/equipment line item for the tractor. The payments for the entire fiscal year total $4,049.52, leaving the line item $1,049.52 short. This will also require monies for any and all additional purchases for tools/equipment to be taken from other line items in the budget. Ms. Shelton, were there any other comments that you received for this portion of the agenda?
No, ma'am, there were not.
Okay, let's move on to item 5, which
Mayor,
is, yes.
I'm sorry, ACO Maldonado is still here. He may
Sure.
want to leave early as well, or leave.
Okay, let's move on to item 10 then. 10A, control updates and announcements from Animal Control Advisory Committee with possible discussion and/or action. Alderman Bricken, did you have anything that you wanted to, any general announcement that you'd like to make on this?
No, I really would like to thank some people who donated to the animal control for food for the animals, but right now we're kind of in a development stage on this committee, and hope to be back in full operation shortly.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's move on to item 10B, presentation of monthly report by ACO Maldonado with possible discussion and/or action. And Christopher, you are up.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
I can.
I hope everybody's doing okay. So for our new monthly report, I made something up a little different. I know the one previous to the one I made is a little bit confusing, a little hard to look at, and just bulky. So I constructed a new one. I will be issuing that one out next month, but for now, I will present you what I have. So I broke it down into 3 categories: our main cost for service, which are stray, cruelty, neglect, and enforcement. And within those are warnings, citations, referrals, impoundments, unable to locate, and no violation observed. So for the month of December, we had a total of 34 stray calls, which can also be me just driving around.
You broke up for a moment. Could you repeat what you just, the last part you just started?
I'm sorry. So for the month of December, there were a total of 34 stray calls, which can be me just driving around or people calling it in and reporting issues. Within those stray calls, we had 21 warnings, 5 citations, 5 impounded, 2 unable to locate, and 1 no violation observed. Also for the month of December, we had 5 cruelty and neglect. Within those, 3 warnings were given out, 1 referral, and then 1 no violation observed. And then for enforcement, we had a total of 4 calls for enforcement, and all those led to warnings. So there was no citations or anything like that for enforcement. Do I have any questions so far?
No, carry on.
Okay. So for the total amount of 43 service calls for the month of December, and so far we have 15 dogs in custody. That concludes my report.
And just to clarify, because I know there will be questions about this,
Mhm.
of those 15 in custody, how much are puppies that were born in the facility?
So those puppies were not born in the facility. They were picked up off the side of the road.
Oh, sorry, that was the other dogs you got rid of already. How many puppies do you have in custody?
We have 10 puppies.
Lovely. Okay, and so they're part of the overall total.
Correct.
And these are young puppies, what, 7, 8 weeks old?
No, they are 4 weeks old.
4 weeks old. Okay. Okay.
Could I ask
Any
a
more
question?
questions? Yes, sir.
Who is that?
Yep.
Gary, go
Gary.
ahead.
Are those the blue heeler puppies?
No.
No,
Okay.
these are different puppies.
Okay, I didn't know that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any more questions?
I don't see anyone with any other questions, but I do want to talk a little bit about the efforts that you've put forward here. This is a lot of animals, a lot.
Right.
And due to COVID-19 and due to the sheer numbers of animals that we're having to deal with, we're changing focus. We're not going to be picking up strays for the near future. The only animals that Chris will be picking up will be aggressive, those that have attacked or killed another animal, or an animal that needs to be quarantined for rabies perhaps, or animal on human bite. That's it. And those animals
Mayor Ball, if you can hear us, we lost you. Mayor Ball,
Old
Mayor
for-
Ball,
Yes.
we lost you for a second. Go back to the beginning of that last sentence.
Oh, my geez. Okay.
Sorry. Oh, you froze again. We lost you again. Mayor,
those
we
that
lost
have-
you again.
I
Sorry.
don't know why y'all are losing me.
You keep freezing up and then when you
Okay.
come back, you're in the middle of a sentence. Sorry.
Okay. So we're only going to be picking up aggressive animals that have a human bite. Did I break up again?
Yes, but I didn't want to say anything. I was
That's
going to let it go.
crazy. I don't know why it's doing that. And any animals that need to be quarantined because of a bite on human, animal on human bite, or obvious needing to be detained because of possible rabies. But these animals will not be put up for adoption. The owners, if they are contacted or want to make contact and claim their dogs, they can do that. But we are going to be putting those animals down, and we just do not have the capacity in the facility to pick up the just astronomical numbers of strays that are roaming the streets. The marshal and Chris have been instructed to start citing. We're not doing warnings anymore. They do citations. And as you know, we will deal with the huge amount of animals roaming the streets as we can, but we have one person that is responsible for animal control program, and the sheer numbers of animals that he's had to deal with in the last 3 weeks is crazy. It's contributing to overtime. It is contributing to stress. It is contributing to extra expense that we do not have. And we're just going to have to work on something else, but we can't avoid dealing with the truly dangerous situation with some animals. So that's where the focus will be. Part of the reason, another contributing factor to that is COVID-19. The interaction with the public, the spread of the virus right now is just out of control. It's important that we protect our employees, and the public is protected as well. So, you know, trying to do adoptions is not feasible. Just limiting contact is what we need to do, but we do need to address the dangerous situation. So going forward, until further notice, that's going to be the focus. Okay, are there any other questions for Christopher Maldonado?
I have a question,
And who is that?
John.
Hey, John, go ahead.
Is the sudden increase, is that due to people realizing that they can dump their dogs here, people from out of the city, or do you have any idea why?
Christopher, can you answer that?
No, as far as I know, people aren't dumping dogs here. I'd probably get calls for that all the time, but no, I don't think people are dumping these dogs here. These dogs have just been here a while, so I don't think that's the main reason.
I think there's
Okay, thank you.
I think there is one of the major contributors is lack of responsible pet ownership. And that will be addressed through citations.
So is it that these dogs actually do have a home, somebody to feed and water them, but they're just roaming free throughout the day until the people come back home, or?
I'll let Chris answer that.
Yeah, so most of the calls that we get are people that leave the dogs outside, let them go be free on the streets. And sometimes it's just dogs that wander into their property and they feed them. I tell them not to feed them because that's where they're going to go, and that's where they're going to claim that that's their home now. So if there's an animal out there, a stray, don't feed it. It probably belongs to somebody. And if it doesn't, don't feed it because it's gonna think that you're its new owner, and that's what I'm gonna think. So
And I know that you will get backlash on that, Christopher, when you say don't feed them, because there are lot of people with very kind hearts who, you know, it is not the animal's fault. Let's make that crystal clear.
right, but
The
if you're
reality-
constantly going outside feeding the dog, and versus seeing the dog on the side of the road and you have a piece of meat in your car and you give it to them, that's different from constantly going outside your back door and feeding the dog on your porch. There's a big difference.
Yes, and by law, the law states that if you're doing that, it's your dog. So you have to then contain it and take care of it.
Correct.
This is Gary. May I make a comment?
Sorry, I had you on mute. Yes, you may.
Once this pandemic peaks and we go downhill on it, people go back to work, and the reasons for having their pets has been companionship, we might be facing, by the end of this year, another dog dumping like we had during the Great Recession. And it's something we have to keep in the back of our minds of how we handle the disposal of these dogs. I would love every dog to have a good home. But we have to be realistic. It's just sort of an observation I'm making at the moment, that's all.
And
Thank
thank you, Gary. And I do agree with that. And if you don't mind, as the chair for the Animal Control Advisory Committee, if you would make a notation for that to be a topic of discussion on an upcoming meeting, that would be great.
Well, I had planned on that, but I also think, I noticed Elmendorf has signs about dog dumping. Yeah, they're about as valuable as, running over a penny in the street, but they do set fine structures for people caught dog dumping, and maybe they might help. I really don't know. Speeding signs don't help, so why should dog warning signs
again,
help?
That would be another good topic for the ACAC meeting as well.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else have any comments or questions? Okay, Christopher, thank you for that. We're going to move on to the last item on your section here, which is item 10C. Discuss and possible action on a quote received for 2 tires for ACO's 2012 Ford F-150. We've been kind of replacing these a little as they come up, and we're down to, we really need to put 2 tires on this vehicle because 2 others have already been replaced. So that is the intent of placing this item on the agenda. I know, Christopher, we typically deal with, I'm assuming, Chris, that this is from Discount Tire. Is that correct? Yes, it says Discount Tire.
That's correct.
Okay. And that's typically where we take our vehicles for tires when they're needed. So on here, he has 2 tires. This includes taxes, which we would not be paying taxes on. So it looks like $513.50 would be needed for purchase of 2 tires for that truck. Would anyone care to make a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the bid and buy the tires.
Would you like to put a not to exceed number on that?
I'm sorry, what?
Would you like to put a not to exceed value on that?
Yeah, why don't we do it? Yeah, put a not to exceed. Those things have a funny way of finding new things to put in your tire. So, no, not to exceed, accept the bid as made minus the taxes.
Okay, but give me a number for not to exceed.
I have it somewhere on here. Tell me what it is.
Well, the total including taxes is $552.40.
Okay, well,
Mayor Ball,
Yes.
there
Please,
is actually a new quote, an updated quote from the one that you have on hand that was sent via email. It's the total without taxes now is 593 even.
Without taxes?
593.
Why did it go up?
Probably because I think, oh, there's certificates for refund or replacement for $39.75 each tire. So that would be they would replace if it's blown out or has a nail in the sidewall.
Got it. Okay, so I see the box here on the quote where it says, yes, protect my tires for $39.75 per tire. Okay.
Yeah, so
So-
the newest quote that he received is for same tires. Everything else is the same except for adding the certificates for refund or replacement. So the total subtotal is 593 without tax.
Okay.
okay, not exceed $593.
Okay.
I'll second.
And is that Alderman Rapino?
It is.
Okay, so we have a motion by Alderman Bricken and a second by Alderman Rapino to approve the quote for the two tires for the ACO 2012 Ford F-150 for a price not to exceed $593. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm
Aye.
Aye.
I heard 5. Opposed? Okay, that motion carries and it was unanimous. Okay, and Christopher, I want to publicly thank you for the hard work that you're doing for pretty much a thankless job. It's a lot of work. I've seen some of the stuff you go to. By no means do I know everything, but I know enough to know it's a thankless job. But you're doing a fine job and I really do appreciate that.
If that's a motion,
appreciate
I'll
that.
second it.
Thank you.
Okay, enjoy your evening, Chris.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, let's go back here to item 5. Quarterly investment report. We're going to receive a brief from Alderman Rapino on the quarterly investment report and possible discussion and or action.
okay. The quarterly investment report from 10/1 to 12/31/2020. The checking account is $244,492.51. That's well within the amount that the FDIC covers, so we're protected there. If it goes over 250,000, then the bank must cover anything over 250,000 by investing in treasury notes so that we are covered so that we don't lose anything. We're collateralized above 250,000 that we have in any of our accounts. Tax pool from the same period, 10/1/2020 to 12/31/2020, we have 127,651.33, and the interest that we received on that was not very much this quarter, only 37.25, but as I pointed out in the past, we've never lost any money, even during the dark days when the pandemic first started. We've always managed to pull out a gain in our investment. And I think that it's in the $600 range for the year. I'm having trouble pulling the page apart. I think it's $634.94 for the year. That is the investment report for this quarter. And I'd like to make a motion to accept the investment report if there is no further discussion on it. Any questions?
I do have a comment to make on this. Going
Okay.
forward for your next quarterly, let's include, we have another account that is holding the road bond funds. So we will need to include that in the reporting here. It's a separate account, separate
Okay.
checking account, same bank, but you can get with Catherine for the details on that one as well.
Okay, I don't have any detail on that. Do we, is that an interest-bearing account by
It is not,
any
no,
chance?
it is not. I don't think it is an interest-bearing account. It's a
Well,
good question.
maybe we should solicit them to get some interest on it. It's 800 grand, isn't it? Or
Well, we had
somewhere in that vicinity?
750,000 was deposited in the account several months ago, back in, I don't know, September, August. I want to say it may be interest bearing. I honestly don't know. I know it's
Should
a
I
fee
call the
account.
guy at Chase?
Yeah, you can
and,
call, yeah, give him a call and have a talk with him.
Yeah, because we should be getting something out of that.
I think that would be nice, because that's a sizable chunk of money that's sitting there that could be benefiting us.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I'll do that, and I will include it in, I'll ask them to include that in the next report too.
Okay.
So that we get it.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay, so we have a motion.
So I would ask,
Oh, go ahead.
I made a motion to accept this. We need a second.
I'll second
Yes.
it.
Okay, Alderman Rapino has made a motion to accept the quarterly investment report as presented, and Alderman Puente has seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 I
I,
Okay, there they are. All opposed? Okay, that motion carries, and that was unanimous. Thank you, Alderman Rapino. Okay, item 6, the financial and budget report. The income and expenses will be reported by City Secretary Catherine Yelton with possible discussion and/or action.
Sorry, wasn't sure if I was muted or not. So we have a beginning balance as of December 1st, 2020 of $112,385.76. Checks and payments of $53,953.71. Deposits and credits of $186,145.62. We did have one outstanding item of $85.16. That hadn't cleared yet, which left us an ending balance as of December 31st, 2020 of $244,492.51.
Okay, I do want to comment on this. There are adjustments that will be made to the October, November, and December financial reports. Those will be posted in addition to the ones that are already posted out there today. The reason for the adjustments is that all of the ad valorem tax revenues that we have received have all been deposited into our general fund account. It took us a little bit of working with the tax office to find where we actually find the values for the road bond. Ms. Shelton has the instructions on how to make those entries in QuickBooks to move the money out of our general fund and then reflect those as deposits within the appropriate months for the road bond. So some of the money that we get collected every payment, every deposit, there's a portion of that that actually goes into the road bond. So just be on the lookout. There will be restatements, and they will be in addition to what has been previously provided for review by council. And I see Alderman Rapino has his hand raised. Go ahead, sir.
I'm sorry, I forgot to put it down.
Oh, okay. It's up again. Oh, there it is. It's up, it's down. Okay, any questions from anyone on the council on the financial report?
I move we accept the report.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Bricken to accept the financial reports as presented. All in favor say aye.
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 Well, that's 3. Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Okay, thank you, Ms. Shelton.
You're welcome.
Okay, item 7, consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered routine by the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. We have 3 items on here, which is approve the November 2020 City Attorney invoice number 1266 from Cassandra, not to exceed $2,535. Item B is approve the minutes from November 12th, 2020 regular City Council meeting. And item C is approve the minutes from the December 10th, 2020 regular City Council. I'm going to pull item C because those minutes are not yet ready. So that will leave items A and B.
I move that we accept items A and B of the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Bricken to accept items A and B as presented on the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? And that motion carries, and I counted 5 ayes. Okay, let's move on to item 11. Public Works and Parks. Item A, update and announcements from Park Advisory Committee Chair Tom Rapino with possible discussion and or action.
We have a park advisory committee meeting taking place this coming Tuesday. And I would like to announce now that the bench that we approved earlier has been received and at a price that was almost half of what we had originally anticipated. So we got it at a substantial reduction in price, which is great. So that in the near future will be put into the ground within the play area. I'm talking to the gentleman that visited here a couple of Fridays ago, and I'm asking him to send us some exercise equipment photos, and I'm gonna see what he can do for us, maybe to get us moving in that area in the future. And that's all I have to report
For the announcements?
on that. Yes.
Well, that's great. Thank you for that. And congrats on getting the bench for substantially less cost. That's good. Which will lead us into item
Yeah,
B,
but-
which I think is more good news.
Right. Yes.
Well, let me go ahead and read the agenda item. So item
Okay.
11B is discuss and possible action on approval to purchase 2 flagpole kits, including solar lights and US and Texas flags for placement at the future community center and the new administrative plaza from Flag and Banner Incorporated at a substantial discount from the previously quoted price. So I will let you, Alderman Rapino, share that information with us.
Okay, I talked to the people at Flag and Banner. Originally, I had talked to them to purchase a single flagpole for the new administrative plaza, and that would have cost us $770.32 for all the accoutrements that the mayor just mentioned. So I went back to them and said, hey, look, we're going to buy 2 if you can give us a discount. So they did come back and they gave us a discount, and it was $1,385.12 for 2 flagpole kits with all the same equipment. And that's a savings of $155.52. So I'm asking the council to approve that expense and purchase of the 2 flagpole kits, one to go into the new administrative plaza and one to, when we convert over to the administrative plaza for our city hall, to use our current city hall as a community center and place a flagpole there also. So I'm asking the council to consider that. So any questions
So just so
I
I'm
have
clear,
one.
for the
well, just so I'm
Okay.
clear, we previously approved the 770.32, and we probably did a not to exceed number on that. So
Yes.
we want to, and this goes to Ms. Ortiz, what is the proper form we should be using for addressing this particular item for consideration?
If there was a not to exceed amount approved at the last meeting and this falls within that amount, then no other action would be needed by council. If it exceeds the last one, then you would need one. You would need another motion.
Okay, but we would do it for the full amount or the addition too?
Do it for the, you can just do it for the addition unless if the full amount was within that not to exceed amount, then you just need to do the addition. You can handle it either way or combine it into one motion with a one amount.
Okay,
So I would ask to, well, I think, was that Gary that had a question?
I have a question as well after Gary.
Okay.
Well, you
go
basically
ahead,
answered
Gary.
the question. Yeah, you basically
Okay.
answered the question, okay? Go on,
Okay.
Ms. Puente.
When is this community center supposed to, when is it supposed to be up and running?
That's a good question. So there's a couple things that have to happen. The first thing is we have to get into the new building. And once we get into the new building, then we will clean up the existing building, and then we should have it available for use by the community for events or for classes or whatever we choose to do with that.
But in the interim, until that happens, it seems to me that we should have a flagpole at our current city hall.
Yeah, no, I agree
So,
with that. How much did we
yeah.
save on the bench? Would it be enough to offset the difference for this flagpole?
Not quite. I think we saved about $300 on the bench.
Oh, that helps.
Yeah. Oh, it does help. Yeah. And we saved $155.52 by purchasing two. I mean,
Two.
we didn't really save, but
Mm-hmm.
it's more of a bargain by doing that to get two poles than if we had bought one now and then one a couple weeks from now, and we would have spent the full price. So what I would like to do is ask that we purchase the two poles for not more than $1,400, or maybe $1,425.
Can we?
Go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, as I remembered it, we approved a not to exceed $800 for the purchase of the first flagpole.
Yes.
So I think we should add $600 to that approved amount for a complete not to exceed $1,400.
I
Sounds
think he said
good to me.
1425.
Well, he just originally said a not to exceed 1425, but we already know it's 1385.12. So
Yeah. Yeah, 1,400's okay. So I'll make a motion not to purchase the two flagpoles for the amount of not to exceed $1,400.
I'll second that motion.
okay. So we have a motion by Alderman Rapino to purchase two flagpoles and flags and solar lights for a price not to exceed $1,400, and a second by Alderman Fillinger. All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, and opposed? Okay, that motion carries, and that sounded unanimous. Okay, and thank you very much, Alderman Rapino, for your work on that and for saving money and doing it too. Okay, let's move on to item 11A. Under administration, discuss and possible action on an ordinance 2020-177, which is amending ordinance 2020-164, adopting regulations for manufactured homes. This is the second reading of this proposed amendment. We received no public comments on this item during the time frame from the last meeting. No public comments. However, I have had many comments made to me by phone or in person. And my recommendation to council at this time is that we do not act on this item. It seems that the consensus from those that I heard from is that by changing this, it's the units, the age of the units that we were looking at would probably not be of the standard that we're looking for, that they're, mobile homes just don't necessarily retain their
Integrity.
that's a good word, yes. the older that they get. So the overall consensus from everybody is don't change anything, leave it as is. I do see 2 hands raised. We'll start with Alderman Rapino. Please go ahead.
I agree with that, Mayor.
Okay. Alderman Fillinger, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. I have, I've had nobody say, yes, we need to do this. And I've had several people tell me it's a really bad idea.
Okay. So
So,
you're hearing the same things.
yes, ma'am. Do we need a motion to rescind this, or do we just not do the
We
second
can-
reading?
We can just not take any action if that's what we choose to do. But I did want to just offer a little bit more commentary on this. The reason that I brought this up originally was I had received phone calls from a few residents who were experiencing some difficulties and were looking for a little bit of leniency. And without knowing specifically the age of their units during those discussions, and as part of considering this ordinance last time, because I didn't want to be biased in how we approach this, after we came up with the proposal, I went back to them and their concerns would not have fit within what we were proposing anyway. So it's not that there were people asking for something and we're saying no. They were asking for a lot more, like 20, 30 years more. So that was not going to work for them anyway. So nobody that was awaiting a response from us is being harmed by not moving forward on this motion. And Ms. Ortiz, is that correct? We can just do a no action on this one?
Just so you can ask for a motion if someone does have a motion. And if there is no action, it could also be tabled indefinitely with just no time to come back to council.
Okay.
And then the current ordinance would stand.
So if anyone would like to make a motion, that's probably a cleaner way to do it if somebody would choose to do that.
I make a motion that we table it indefinitely.
I'll
Okay,
second that motion.
we have a motion by Alderman Bricken and a second by Alderman Fillinger to table this item indefinitely. All in favor, say aye.
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 I
Okay, all opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Okay, item 11B, discuss and possible action on ratifying an agreement to participate in the Bexar County multi-jurisdictional, multi-hazard mitigation plan update project and document signed by the mayor for the Bexar County hazard mitigation opt-in. So we came across something, Mr. Moreland from the Office of Emergency Management had reached out to all of the mayors to remind them that we had, there were some changes that were coming and that we needed to opt in or opt out of the hazard mitigation plan. And as you all recall, we have opted in from the beginning as part of the Bexar County hazard mitigation plan. So I gave my verbal response, and a few days later I got something back from Mr. Moreland who said, slight change of plans. Now they would like you to sign this form and send it in. And it had to be in by the following day, which was well before our meeting. So I went ahead and signed on behalf of the city. And this is just a kind of it's ratifying. So it's approving after the fact for us to opt in for the Bexar County hazard mitigation plan.
Okay, I move that we ratify the agreement to participate in the Bexar County multi-jurisdictional, multi-hazard mitigation plan.
Okay,
I have a few things to say about that if I could.
absolutely.
If we don't ratify it, we would not be able to get any funds that were, should we should we suffer some sort of catastrophic incident that damages the city, we would not be able to get any funds from the state or the federal government if we weren't signed on to that plan. So I think it's in our best interest to approve that. So
It
I
is,
just wanted to put my 2 cents in.
and I appreciate that, Alderman Rapino, and that's exactly right. There are other advantages to being part of this plan. You get a coordinated effort with very highly trained emergency managers to respond on our behalf with us. They would, they lead and we engage with them, but they are very well trained and very knowledgeable on situation management in the event of an emergency. So it's definitely to our benefit.
And I'll second Charles's motion.
Okay, so we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Rapino to approve ratifying the opt-in agreement for the Bexar County Multi-Jurisdictional Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan Update Project. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, sorry.
All opposed? And that motion carries. Okay, item 11C, schedule a public hearing for January 28th, 2021 as part of the regular meeting to discuss and review the possible grant opportunity for Lowman Hilltop Peaks Drainage Project. So I've been working with GrantWorks on submitting an application for grant funding to address this area. This is the, some of you may not know, some of you may recall that there is at the intersection of Lowman and Hilltop Peaks, we have had a severe drainage problem for some time. And it's not that the water is necessarily backing up into people's homes, although we don't know, should a very severe rain occurrence happen, that would not be an issue. One of the bigger issues is the standing water, and during the wintertime, that's not so much of an issue, but in the summertime, it is an extreme health hazard. And we have our public works crew that has to go out on a regular basis to place mosquito dunks because that's how bad the water problem is there. If you recall back in, I want to say it was 2018, our city engineer had done all of the drawings and the work to identify how to rectify the situation. Funding has been the issue, and funding is still the issue, but we have an opportunity to apply for some grant funds to address that problem. There is a match that goes with that, but the maximum amount of grant money that we can apply for is $350,000, and our match on that would be right around $52,500. The good news is we don't need $350,000, so our match will be something less than that. But I had and it would not be until the next fiscal year. So we would run the application, which we're planning to submit here in the next month. And then once it's approved or not, we'll have an idea. Then we would build into our next fiscal budget the amount of match dollars for that specific project. I have shared with the GrantWorks the drawings that we've already had done. So the engineering work piece on that is already completed, which will save us a little bit of money. However, that will not count towards our match dollars. And then it would be contingent upon an engineer, which we would have to contract for an engineer but it would be contingent upon them to accept those existing plans or not. Those plans have already been paid for. Like I said, we've done the background work on that. We just have not executed on that. And so in talking with GrantWorks, we would have to have a public hearing to share this entire plan with the community. And it would have to be done before January 31st. So our next meeting is on the 28th. And we'd like to do a public hearing at that time as part of our, like either before or after our regular meeting, since we'll already be meeting at that time. GrantWorks will write the post needs to go in the newspaper. We of course would pay for that. And there was something else about that I wanted to share, and I'm drawing a blank, but I do see Alderman Rapino has his hand up. Please go ahead, sir. And you took your hand down.
It was a mistake. I blame it on my eyes, Mayor. I can't see the damn thing. I'll lower my hand.
Oh, I do know what I wanted to
do.
I did remember what I wanted to share on this. So for everyone will probably recall that we've talked a lot about an economic survey as being an impediment to us being able to even seek grant funding. And the beauty of this particular project is that the entire city does not need to be surveyed. So GrantWorks would send out surveyors to do the economic survey for those individuals who are impacted. And they, like I said, they have the map, they have the drawings, they're already putting together the specific addresses. They will come out, they will have their vehicles marked, they will have badges, everyone will know who they are, unlike the census workers who I think kind of worried a few people when they showed up. But we would also have an opportunity to alert that these people will be in the neighborhood. They will also be bringing bilingual so that they can make sure that they talk with everybody that would be impacted. One of the things is that vacant homes do not count against our tally. Remember, we have to hit a 50% low to moderate income in order to even qualify. So a vacant home will not even be part of the calculation. So that's kind of good news and kind of bad news because we're dealing with a limited area. Anyway, there'll be more of that discussed at the public hearing, but that's the whole point of wanting to schedule this. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve a public hearing on the 28th for this particular item?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How would we do a public hearing? In person or online or what?
It would all be online the way we've done it. We did one not too long ago, and I'm trying to recall what it was for. But it's just we just close one meeting and start up the next meeting.
And how would we notify people of it?
The same way that we've been doing. I mean, we would just make sure that people know that there is a public hearing to talk about an upcoming project.
And the people that would that be within the immediate vicinity of the project, the people that would be impacted?
Yes.
That they would survey?
Yes, exactly.
And can you give me, I've had to step away, can you give me the price of what our engineer said that would cost to do the project?
The drawings that I had and that I shared with GrantWorks showed the project to be about $120,000. That was a couple of years ago. And that did not include I don't think that included the engineering costs because we had already paid for that. But it gave us a rough number to work with, but for some reason, the number 180,000 sticks in my mind as an overall project cost for that.
Grant Works will pay for half of that?
GrantWorks isn't going to pay for anything.
Oh,
No, the grant, we will apply for federal CDBG grant funding
right.
to fund that project. GrantWorks will act on our behalf as a grant writer.
Okay, so the grant would be to pay for 50% of the project?
It would be to pay for more than that. We would have a matching component to the amount that we request. So the maximum amount that we can request is $350,000, but we don't
Gotcha.
need $350,000.
Gotcha.
And our match on that 350 would be $52,500. So the less that we request, the less our match is, but we won't know what the match is until we come up with an overall price. So that's where we're at. And I see Alderman Fillinger has his hand raised. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I want to stress, we've been working on this project for almost 3 years now. And it is a health and safety matter. We can either hold a public hearing and apply for the grants, or we can try to figure out how we're going to finance this out of our property taxes, or we can directly assess the impacted homeowners, which would be ridiculous because their impact fee might be as much as the value of the property. So with all that said, I would make a motion that we do the public hearing and publish it in our newspaper next week. Make announcements over the usual social media.
Mhm.
So that's my motion, ma'am.
Okay. So we have a motion
Second.
from all, who said that? Gary Bricken.
Yeah.
We have a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Bricken to approve scheduling a public hearing on January 28th, 2021 to follow our, it'll either precede or follow our regular meeting that will be scheduled for the same time to talk about the Loman Hilltop Peaks Drainage Project. Is there any other discussion? I see Alderman Rapino has his hand up again.
No, I'm just waiting to vote. You said we have to
Okay.
raise our hand when we vote.
All in favor, say aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
Oh, wait, time out. I hear somebody.
it's Cassandra. I'm sorry if I misheard. I thought Alderman Fillinger or Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger said next week for the public hearing.
No, next week for publication of the
Oh,
notice. for public
publication.
hearing.
Okay, I'm sorry. I wanted to make sure
Yeah.
that we could publish in time. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, again, so all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, that motion carries. I will get in touch with GrantWorks and let them know to go ahead and publish in the paper, and then we'll get the notice posted in all the usual places. Okay, we're going to move on to item 11D. Discuss and possible action to approve awarding the work to install new piping, repair and modify existing piping, and possible shower addition. And this was brought by Alderman Fillinger and Alderman Bricken. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Okay, I hope everybody has their quotes in front of them. We've received 2 quotes, one from Force and one from Texas Made Plumbing. The Texas Made Plumbing is the lower bid. Texas Made Plumbing is a Hub certified contractor and Better Business Bureau A+ rated contractor. So I'm going to recommend well, we have an option on that. The basic plumbing to bring the new municipal building up to code is $7,225. An option is to add a shower for the use of the Marshal's Department mainly. And hold on, I have to switch back and forth. They want an additional $850 for the labor portion of that installation, with the city to supply the shower stall, drain, and the water valve assembly. I have researched that. That would add another $800. So, I'm sorry, that would add another $500 to the project. So that would drive the total cost to $8,575. I would like, well, does anybody want to discuss it?
Well, and I think, let me give a little background on this. So when we bought the building, they had to separate all 7 units to transport them individually. Last fiscal year, we had a contractor that put in place the infrastructure, which is just bringing water and electric to the site. So this building is not connected to that infrastructure. When they had to separate the units, they had to sever electric and water lines inside the building. So what we're talking about here is reconnecting the inside connections for plumbing. What I don't know, Mr. Gollinger, is does this quote include connecting to the infrastructure?
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Okay.
The request for quotation included install new water lines to the building, reconnect all of the piping in the interior, add water tempering valves that are now required by code, and to connect all the drains to our new septic system. So
Okay,
this will wrap up all of the plumbing, supply, drains, and connections inside.
perfect. Okay. And
Okay.
so I do want to clarify on the shower. That is not exclusive use of the Marshal's Department. It is also Public Works. It is also Animal Control. They all get dirty out there in the field. It's just they need a place to be able to clean up because we never know what they're going to encounter during their daily activities.
Yes, ma'am. But I do notice the marshal changes out of his uniform when he goes off duty. I'm thinking I would like a nice shower at that point.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you two have fun.
So I'm going to recommend that we include the shower. That would bring the total up to $8,875. Now, any more discussion before I make a motion? Okay, I'm going to make a rather long-winded motion here.
Well, talk slow because I have to write it down.
Okay. Number one, I move that we award the work to Texas Made Plumbing. Their bid is $8,075. I move that we authorize an additional $500 to purchase and supply to Texas Made Plumbing the shower stall. I move that City Council authorizes myself to oversee the installation. And I would like to move that we have a not to exceed $10,000 for the plumbing project in case there's any issues that come up.
Okay, I think I got that.
I'll second that.
You got the easy part, Gary.
Yeah,
He didn't have to
I
write
can't
it
hear.
down.
Okay, so we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Bricken to award to Tex Made Plumbing the quote, and I wrote down 8875. Is that 8275?
His quote was $8,075.
$8,075. Okay.
Okay,
And then
there's an
plus-
addition.
Yes, I got for the others. Okay.
Okay,
So award to Tex Made Plumbing for $8,075 and authorize an additional $500 to Tex Made Plumbing for the shower stall.
no, ma'am, we
No?
will directly purchase that and supply it to him. The shower cell valve and drain.
But he needs $850 for the labor piece.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so let's back up. We're gonna award, he made a motion to award the bid to Tex Made Plumbing for the basic quote of $8,075, plus an additional $850 for
No, ma'am.
labor.
No, ma'am. The
Hey, Carl, Text it to me real quick.
The $8,075 includes the labor for the shower stall.
Okay, so that's basic plus labor for shower.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I wrote down $500 and I'm just trying to figure out where you wanted me to put that in here.
Okay, that's above the $8,075. We will purchase from Home Depot the shower stall, valve, and drain.
Okay. Okay, let me try this for, the umpteenth time.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
so we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Bricken to award to Tex Made Plumbing in the amount not to exceed $10,000. And that includes the basic quote for the plumbing, plus the labor for the shower, plus an additional $500 for us to purchase and provide to them a shower stall, drain, and miscellaneous supplies to install the shower.
That's correct.
Thank you. Okay. Any other discussion on that one? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 See?
Aye.
Mayor
Boy,
Ball,
they-
I missed the second. Who seconded that?
Mr. Bricken?
Okay, and you mentioned that it was for all of it at a cost not to exceed 10,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you had mentioned. Okay, thank you.
Okay, all opposed? That motion carries. Okay. Item 11E. Discuss and possible action to award a contract for electrical installation for the new municipal building. And again, this was brought by Alderman Fillinger and Alderman Crickmer. I'll let you take over, sir.
Okay, again, I requested a lot of bids and we only have two. One from Force AM for a ridiculous $47,000 and change. And a second one from Quinney Electric. And Quinney Electric is a BBB A+ rated contractor with the hub certifications. His entire quote is $9,394.93. So I move that we accept the bid from Quinney Electric Incorporated. Once again, I would like to be authorized to oversee the installation and testing, and not to exceed $10,000 for the entire project.
Alderman Fillinger, the quote that you gave me to supply for the packets, I might not have the right, I see a price of $10,270 plus tax, well, it says plus tax from Force Asset Management.
No, ma'am, that was only for the interior work.
Oh.
There's a second page to that one, Catherine.
Ew, okay,
Yeah, I did the same thing the first go round.
okay.
That did not include any of the exterior work, which is the majority of the work there.
I see. Sorry.
His bid is ridiculously out of line with reality here.
Well, and we know now why, because Charles did a little recon for us. They basically sub out all the work. So that's why their price is so much higher. Whereas Quinney is a direct contract. But I do have a question. Why are they
I'll
replacing?
second.
Well, hold on just a moment. Why are they replacing items 6, 7, and 8 on here?
Let me see.
It says the exit light combos, the LED exit signs and emergency lights. I'm just wondering why they're replacing them.
Basically, those are consumable items. After 5 years, they're due to be replaced, ma'am.
Got it. Okay. Okay, so what I have here is a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Rapino to approve the quote provided by Quinney Electric for a price not to exceed $10,000 and authorize Alderman Fillinger to oversee the project. Do we have any other discussion on this? Any questions? Well then, with that, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, that motion carries. And I would like to thank Alderman Fillinger for his work in soliciting the bids and working with each of the contractors. He's done a fine job of overseeing a lot of this work that's going on. Thank you for that. And with that, we will move on to item 12. It is 8:23 p.m. and we will adjourn this meeting. And I want to thank everybody for joining us and have a good evening and be safe out there.
Mayor, did you get that text I sent you?
I will
That you
check.
asked me for?
I'll check in just a
Okay.
moment. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Right.
Good
Good night, all.
Night.
Night.